Buenos dias and bienvenido. This time we have a band from Basque Country, Spain, with the band called In Loving Memory, and the third album, The Withering, early 2022 release. Actually came out in the spring, so not that old of a release in those terms, but since you're probably watching this video in 2023, it kind of feels somewhat older. This is third album by this band that previously, some 10 years ago, actually 11 years difference, the second album already portrayed a melodic doom death concept with kind of a hybrid take on the band. And that album pretty much already nailed what I have to say about this one. I mean, I had to reread what I was writing back in the days about the second album, like kind of get back to my initial thoughts back in the days. And indeed, this is something that reminds me of when melodic death metal is married to doom / doom death, and then married once again to some kind of a Gothenburg metal death sound. This is what you get as a result. So coming from three corners, a little bit death metal, melodic death, or just melodic metal, and then the kind of a doom, and creates this melodic doom death with a little bit of a Swedish touch to it. This band started around 2005 and was followed soon by a demo and then full album in 2008. Those are the ones that I haven't heard, as well as the Redemption EP back in 2014. So my experience comes with two albums by the very band, and basically they do their job just fine. I'm gonna take it like this. Negation of Life was pretty good of an album in this particular subgenre of things. Like here it said melodic doom death metal, and I can totally agree with it. But the thing here is, this third album takes everything to a little bit of a more epic level. And that's not, unfortunately, a good thing to be said. It's more like, I don't know, not insult, but criticism towards the decisions here made. The problem here is, there are a couple of them, and the main one is, this is almost 80 minutes of an album. That means lengthy tracks throughout 10 tracks. So roughly almost all the songs are some 8 minutes or so on average. It's just too much. Unless you're Metallica, and even Metallica cannot really handle lengthy tracks, going for some 70 minutes. You heard it, and it's even more true with this kind of albums. Why so? Because they don't have those memorable riffs. They don't have particular, charisma of the vocals. And that's pretty much of the basic problems here. If this was more compact rather than just feeling like a double album, and the songs were just much expanded, as if it was like, hey, let's try to keep this song going like twice the given obvious length, and then add some rather uncharismatic vocals, it could be really the album that kind of was game changer in the genre, or at least bringing something new to the thing. Now it all pretty much lives and survives by the guitar melodies, which are sometimes actually very, very good. Most often, however, they're pretty much kind of basic stuff. Not exactly filler, but something that just kind of have the bridge parts between the good ideas. You have a lot of these, which just keeps the engine rolling, but not exactly the more memorable part one. Now when you have this constantly through 80 minutes, some kind of a mid-tempo or even slower tempo, it becomes kind of a drag, especially when the vocals are very, very monotone. There are lots of parts where it feels like you're listening to instrumental song because of the length, and then the growly vocals come into play, but they lack power, they lack kind of a variation. They are very, very monotone, song after song after song, and it starts to kind of bore you down eventually. So the rather good production and rather good guitar melodies don't really save the day, because everything is just too much. Vocals are too much, just monochrome, and the songs, they are too lengthy. I know I keep repeating these, but these are important things when we're talking about an album such as this. So basically, should this have been some, 40 minutes of an album or something like that? and there were more diversity with the albums. Maybe some clean vocals. I mean, when I was listening to this one, I was kind of expecting that now some violin enters to play in the My Dying Bride stuff, or Wayne's, or some clean female vocals, or maybe make a quest appearance in one of or two songs, or maybe they're clean male vocals to create this kind of difference between the rather monochrome vocals. But it doesn't happen. So eventually you seem like you're listening to one or two songs with mild variation until the very end. And having that for almost 80 minutes, it's just too much. So this is for kind of a hardcore fans of the genre. If you are into melodic doom death, or even doom death just to begin with, maybe this is something that you're like, yeah, this is my cup of tea. But for the rest of us, it's not gonna justify its existence. So as such, I would say this is a little bit weaker than the previous albums. But like I said, if you love the genre, no reason to skip this over. Like if you're into bands like, I don't know, Swallow the Sun or My Dying Bride and the like, and you like melodies, this is possibly an album for you. But for the rest of us, not so much. Anyway, check out the links provided if you are interested in this kind of band and maybe like it. Thanks for taking your time with us. See you soon. Bye bye.